Today I'm going to do a little home improvement video. Yeah, as you can see, I've got a hole here in this wall, and you know, there's a couple different ways to patch this. You can't just throw mud in it because it's not going to stay. The mud's just going to fall down inside the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a backing board. Another option would be to cut it out nice and square and use a piece of drywall and tape it and mud it and all that. But that's more work than it needs to be. This is a quicker fix. And the other reason I don't want to use drywall is because this stuff here that's in this wall is not drywall. I don't know even what to call it. I've seen it in older homes like this. It's more of like a cardboard, a fiber board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this piece of wood in here and use it as a backer to hold my my mud. And actually, I'm not using a mud, I'm using a Red Devil product I'll explain here in a minute. But as you can see, I've got a screw screwed into the board, and what that's going to do is give me a handle that I can lift it up and pull it tight and then run screws. It only take a couple screws to fasten that to the back of the wall to give me a backing plate to hold my my wall patch. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to set this phone down. That's what I'm using. I'm using my phone. I'm going to try to set the phone down to so I can use both hands to get this board in. I don't know how well it's going to stay in frame, but that's what I'm going to do right now. If it goes out of frame, I apologize, but here it goes. I think that's in frame. So I'm going to lift it up, hold it in place with this screw, and give myself enough wood at the top. Okay, let me sink this screw a little bit more. Alright, and then there's my other screw. I'll screw it at the bottom. Now I measured this hole, and it was 10 inches. There it goes. So anyway, there it is. And I measured the hole, and it was 10 inches by about 3.5 inches. So I cut a board, just a piece of 1x, 14 inches long. That way I'd have enough down in here to screw it in. And oh, excuse me. And I cut it 3 inches wide. I also made some other ones narrower in case I couldn't get that, maneuver this board into place. So now that we got the backing board into place, I'm going to grab this product, and I don't know if I got a knife small enough to fit it, but this is what I'm going to use. The nice thing about this stuff is that it doesn't matter how deep the hole is, how big it is, as long as you got a backer. You can just jam as much of this stuff in as you want. Here's a knife. It's dirty, but it'll work. And as it dries, or when it's dry, it doesn't crack. It doesn't shrink. This stuff maintains its volume through the drying process. And the reason that's good is because if you used just sheetrock mud, just regular old drywall compound, you could pack it in there. One thing it's going to do, depending on the consistency of the mud, is it may actually slough out of your hole and fall down. And then when it's dried, it'll be all sunk in and cracked and whatnot. So it's not the greatest thing to use on an application like this. However, this stuff here is fantastic. It's lightweight. It won't slough out of your hole that you're patching. I'm trying to get it open with one hand here. It stays put. It doesn't crack. The only drawback to it is that it does not sand very well. So what I do is I'll fill the majority of the hole with this stuff. Once it's dry, then I'll come back with drywall mud and finish it off with that. And this is what it looks like. This has already been mostly used, but it's a really light consistency. In fact, when you go to the store and buy this stuff, and you pick up the can, you'll have to open it because it's so light that you think the damn can is empty, and they're selling you an empty can. It is not cheap by any means, but what we're going to do is we're just going to pack it in there. You want to make sure you get it up tight against your backing board. You know, like I said, I'll fill the majority of the hole with this. You know, and it sands, but it's kind of gummy. So what I'll do is finish it off here, smooth it out. Definitely get this excess out of this crease here, and I will come in this side, and I'm going to push on it and make sure it's all the way back into that backing board, because once it dries, it actually dries fairly hard. And I think I might put a little bit more there in the middle. And it doesn't have to be pretty. Like I said, I'm going to come back over. I'll hit it with the sander just to make sure that it's at least level, if not below the level of the surrounding wall. And that's it right there. That's all I'm going to do. Now this will dry usually overnight. Maybe I'll give it a couple days just to make sure. And then I'll come back and hit it with regular drywall mud or finishing mud, sand it down, and then you have a patched hole. Alright, thanks for watching.